to our weekly MetricsDAO community call. We're here every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Now it's 5 p.m. UTC. We are, as most of you know, a blockchain data community. Our community members do a lot of things. We brainstorm analytics questions, we analyze data, discover insights, analysts peer review each other's work. There's also a curators group who curate data tables for analysts to use. We also learn and share knowledge with workshops and courses. And there's also a robust community that we have of contributors who help the DAO run better. And some of them are here today to chat with us all and give updates. We also have a token, a non-transferable, non-monetary token called XMetric. And if you'd like to learn more about all of this and MetricsDAO and our token, I'm going to drop a link in the chat with a blog post of all the ways you can get involved and participate and earn some XMetric for yourself. So I'm dropping that link in right now. There we go. And let's just start, with some warm introductions as we do every week. Many of us are here every week, so you kind of got to know each other pretty well. But if someone is new here, you are welcome to unmute yourself. And if you want to say, who you are, how you found MetricsDAO, what you do here, what you'd like to do here, just a couple of words about yourself. You're welcome to just unmute, or you can type in the Build in Public one event chat, which is top right corner of the screen. Anyone would like to say hello? Please do. We have a couple of new faces here, but also no pressure.
I'm not new, obviously.
Let's do it.
Cool. Well, I'm Brendan. I help out on the bounty ops and growth teams here at MetricsDAO, and I also work full-time over at Flipside Crypto on many of the same tasks. You'll see me hanging around in the GM and warm introductions and general channels often, and working on all the bounty questions we ask you to solve.
Thanks, Brendan, for introducing yourself. Yeah, you will have seen Brendan definitely on the Flipside server and more recently on our Discord as well. Always a super helpful, super friendly presence, and he's just, there to help you in any way you need, and he always has information. So that's really cool. If anyone else would like to introduce yourselves, this is your chance. And if you don't know me, although most people probably do, but just a quick side, I'm community manager here at MetricsDAO. I started out as an analyst. Now I hang out in the MetricsDAO server and help the community stick around and get your answers answered and get your analytics done and improve as analysts with our learning and workshops and all of that fun stuff. So I'm going to do one more call for anyone who'd like to say hello and introduce yourselves and unmute. And I don't think we have any takers, which is cool. You can also, after this call, you can head over to Warm Introductions channel and say hello there and say who you are, and we'll send you some XMetric if you do. And with that, let's get into some of our other agenda today. A few of the things we'll talk about will, as usual, give you some updates of what's going on in MetricsDAO, how you can earn XMetric this week. So Brendan will talk about bounties, Rob will talk about our learning opportunities, and Helix, who is also a core contributor here at MetricsDAO, will talk about events that you can join. And after that, we'll get to the spotlight of today's call. We have Sandesh here today, who is an awesome community member. He is a stellar analyst and a member of our XMetric Masters Top Analyst group. He also recently became a contributor with us on the community team. You might have seen him being a Discord moderator, answering your questions, helping out, being around and being great and being helpful. So we'll talk to him in this call as well. And let's dive right into it. I will also send some XMetric for you all for being here today. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to drop a form in chat that you can fill and it'll close after the event. So if you want some Xmetric, be sure to fill it out and submit. And with that, let's get into some updates. And I'm going to pass it over to Brendan, who will talk about the bounties that we have this week that are closing and they're also coming up.
Yes, thank you, Marina. Happy to be back. Lots of cool bounties coming up. We have 3 that are open right now for a few more hours that I will get to in just a second, and 3 more that are opening tomorrow that I'll get to after that. So starting off with the ones that are currently open, these close shortly, but for now, you can still go finish up or start submissions for a near bounty on the state of staking, an open analytics bounty on Terra, and an NFT cross-chain showdown bounty on Utes and Art Gobblers. So those 3 will be closing, I believe, at midnight tomorrow. So keep an eye out for those. Those are currently active. We also have 3 more new bounties dropping tomorrow at noon. So we'll once again have Terra and Near. On Terra, we'll be looking more closely at wallet and transaction activity on chain. And for Near, we'll be talking about what will go into future bounties that look at kind of mega or master dashboards, some large holistic scale looks at Near and its ecosystem. And then the last one is a look at DEXs and CEXs, specifically whether users are getting off centralized exchanges in the wake of the FTX fallout and other news over the past week or two. So keep an eye out for those. All 3 of those bounties on Terra, Near, and DEXs will be opening tomorrow at noon. And just as a reminder, the Near bounty on the state of staking, our Terra Open Analytics bounty, and our NFT cross-chain showdown on Utes and Art Gobblers are still open for a little while longer. As always, you can check out the bounty questions and submit at the Notion board, which I'll leave a link to momentarily in chat. And you can also find at a similar link our bounty payouts. Remember that these are rank-based. So if you're considering whether you should submit your bounty or you're worried about the competition for a given question, you can take a look at your competition in real time. I will leave both of those links in chat in just a moment once I finish up here. And I think that is about it for me. I will toss it back over to Marina unless there are any questions.
Thanks, Brendan. Awesome to hear about all these bounties coming up and closing. So be sure to get your submissions in if you want to have if you have any questions, you can ask us at any point in this call. You can ask us in chat as well, and you can ask us after in the general channel. And I'm going to pass it over to Rob, who will talk about our education opportunities and courses.
Yeah, so if any of the bounties that Brendan mentioned were interesting to you, it would be good to level up your skills. So that's what the course we have is all about, the Web3 Analytics 101. It's available for both live and ASIC. So go to the education info channel to sign up for them. The live cohort is currently learning and more than halfway through. You can see that they have some badges, pretty cool badges. Shout out to Arcos, I believe, who made those badges. That shows how far they have progressed in the live course. If you're still interested in joining, there's hope. Sign up now for the next cohort starting on January 9. So when you've applied, say hi in an education chat. That's the education chat channel, I mean. But if January 9 is too far away and you want to get started learning now, don't worry. There will be more pre-work and also fun things to do while you wait for January. So sign up. Reina, over to you.
Awesome. Yes, the current cohort is learning. If you want to join, there is still a chance. There's always an opportunity to learn with us. So I'm going to drop some links in the chat. Is there a 201 course planned as well? Asked Elvis in the chat. I'm trying to figure out how much to share. The short answer is we'd like to. That's something we're actively thinking about. There isn't one we're announcing yet, but we'd love to hear if you would attend one and if you would like one. And it's something we are thinking about. It's on the top of MetricsDAO mind. Elvis said he would attend. They would attend. Awesome. Yeah, we'll take that under consideration and we'll try to put one together in the future. And with that, I'm going to also invite Helix to speak on stage and talk about some other ways in the meantime that you can get involved and learn and get more skills.
Yes. Thank you, Marina. Yeah, so I'll cover a bit on events that we have going on. So first off, Sam's weekly SQL class is still going on. It's in the Flipside server though, but if you go over there and join, then you can also earn some Xmetrics. So that's a really nice way to do that. As far as MetricsDAO events, this week we have a panel on the FTX fallout and contagion that will focus on who's affected and how, and what will it mean for the space going forward. So that's really interesting. I know a lot of people already heard a lot about everything that's happened, but this panel will specifically take a look at, okay, what's next? What can we expect now? What will happen going forward? So it's much more future oriented, which should be really, really interesting. We have a lot of cool analysts. I just saw Jack in here. he left again. But Jack the Guy will be there, who has been killing it with bounties lately. So glad to have him on board. We have Marco, who won the top prize for bounty on FTX and Solana. He'll be joining tomorrow as well. And we have Tom One from 21 Shares, who's a great analyst. He put out a really cool dashboard on the whole FTX situation, and he'll be joining us as well. And it will all be moderated by Megafund, a member of our growth team and a DeFi economist and tokenomics expert. So lots of cool speakers. Definitely join tomorrow. I'll drop the link right here in the chat. Other than that, we have an event next week. We're planning our next How I Broke into Web3. Guest is to be announced, but keep an eye out on our Discord server and on our Twitter to find out more. And I thought it'd be a nice opportunity to share our weekly planning meeting. So usually people in this call are a bit newer to our community. And some just want to do analytics, and that's fine. But some of you might actually want to get involved in MetricsDAO and become part of a pod or some teams. And we have a weekly meeting where all the pods basically share their progress, some blockers, and it's a really nice way to find out more of what's going on in the DAO. Marina's so kind to share it, to already have shared it for me. Thanks, Marina. And that's it from me. So keep an eye on the events tab and keep an eye on our Twitter, and you'll find out about all the events that we have going on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Helix, so much. So much going on. There's always an opportunity to earn Xmetric by being involved, by attending and participating. So always stay tuned for that. I also dropped the link in chat to claim today's Xmetric for y'all. And this form will close after the event shortly. So be sure to fill it out to get 10 Xmetric for being here today. And with all of these updates, I'm going to move on to our next segment. I'm going to introduce to y'all Sandesh, who, as I mentioned earlier in the call, is both a really great analyst in the community, a member of our top analysts, Xmetric Masters, and he's also a contributor, a newly minted contributor at MetricsDAO, who just joined the community team and is involved in Discord moderation, helping all your questions get answered. And he's really helpful. So we wanted to talk about Sandesh and his work in both of those capacities today. So hi, Sandesh, welcome.
Yeah, hi Marina. Really thanks for that introduction. So I think you covered all the bases over there.
That's just some of the great things you do in the community. So happy to shout them out. So yeah, today we wanted to meet you a little bit, spotlight you and your work to our community. So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Hope that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
I was wondering if you could share with us how you got started with blockchain analytics, how you found it, and then how did you get started at MetricsDAO?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't have a traditional education in the computer science. I don't have a background in that. So I actually have a background in mechanical engineering, and I was, right after the COVID, I was thinking of changing my career towards something like analytics or computer science related stuff. So that's when a friend of mine, he told me about Flipside on how I can improve my skills and basically make some amount of money to survive. So that's how I started. So it was the main reason I started with Flipside was because they were paying for so that I can learn. So that is where I started. And coming to MetricsDAO, someone had conducted a session and promoted it on Flipside. So that's how I came to know about MetricsDAO. And then I realized that they also run a bounty program. That is what caught my eyes. So that's how I started with MetricsDAO.
Awesome. Get that learn to earn token payout. Yeah, we have, like you mentioned, we have lots of bounties. We're going to keep having more as well. And really glad that you found us and were able to participate and submit your great analytics. I also wanted to ask you about the other part of what you do here at MetricsDAO, and you recently became our contributor. So I wanted to ask kind of what you do day to day as a contributor here at the DAO, and kind of what are your reflections, thoughts, opinions about living the DAO life so far?
Yeah, that's actually a great question because I think people would have started noticing me more on the Discord channels after I became a contributor. So once I became a contributor, I have really upped my game of, answering all the questions, helping out the newcomers, and guiding them to resources. So that's what I do at MetricsDAO. So to work with MetricsDAO has been like really good so far, especially with Marina. So like any questions I have, I go to her. She responds properly. She tells me I have to do this, I have to do that. She gives me the proper order. Yeah, it's been like a really good experience so far, Marina.
Awesome. So great to work with you, to be honest. You are the real MVP of answering questions of our community right now. Really appreciate that, and really glad you're enjoying having fun. We also recently featured your work, and you mentioned that kind of as you started to become a contributor, you became more prominent in our server, and you're getting noticed a bit more. So I guess for both your moderation work and your analytics, right? So you're becoming more visible in the community. Would that be a good way to put it?
Yeah. So MetricsDAO initially also featured some of my work, but the thing is, after I became a contributor, that is when I started becoming more active on Discord channel. So that's what I wanted to say, I think. And yeah, that's it.
Sure. So I shared in the chat the dashboard that Sandesh recently created on Sushi Swap on Optimism. And we talked about it and featured it in our Twitter. First of all, love the name. Is sushi the first meal of optimists? This dashboard asks. You can check it out in the tweet. And I wanted to ask you, Sandesh, when you did that analysis, one thing is what finding what insights stood out most to you that you featured, and another thing is if there's anything that you would like to share with the community in terms of how, in terms of the methodology, in terms of kind of any tip that you have, any advice for other people creating dashboards? Like, what's one thing you do in the dashboard that you'd like to share with others and knowledge share?
Okay, so what I'll do is first I'll tell you a bit about this dashboard and I'll give you some tips on how to improve your dashboards then. So one like surprising thing that I personally found in this while doing this dashboard was that the number of DEX trades that are going on are not on Ethereum basically. A majority of them are moving to the layer 2s, especially on Arbitrum. So it might not be only Sushi, but all the other DEX trades are moving to Arbitrum because of its fees. And there had been some kind of quibble between Sushi and Optimism. So that's where I think they have a low share on Optimism. But yeah, if you're seeing the whole DEX trades in general, then they are moving to layer 2s. So that's one major takeaway that I had from this one. Until then, I myself used to think, okay, Ethereum is the king and will always be the king, but it doesn't turn out like that. Layer 2s are building up spaces on them.
That's super interesting. I'm showing your dashboard right now on screen share if you all would like to check it out. And there's also a link in the chat. And thank you for sharing kind of those findings and what you did here. And if someone is interested in your dashboard, they can contact you and ask you questions, right?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
I would love to talk about that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's fun to talk about your work as an analyst, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if you all want to ask Sandesh questions, you know where to find him. Tag him at Sandesh in our Discord or on Twitter as well, right?
Yeah. Twitter, Discord, anywhere is fine. I'll instantly reply.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Sandesh, so much for coming on and sharing a bit about your work at MetricsDAO and your analytics. I love having you around. Hope you continue being an active part of our community. And with that, I would like to open to any questions in general and to see if any of y'all have any more questions to ask. Otherwise, we'll start moving to close the community call. Elvis was looking for the link to the dashboard directly. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing it. All the questions are answered before weekend. That's amazing. And it's also in the Twitter thread that I shared. It's kind of in one of the later tweets in there. I'm going to stop streaming. You can find the dashboard in the chat. And do you all have any other questions that you'd like to ask us or anything else that you wanted to talk about any of our programs? Thanks, Helix, for being here. Helix had to jump. And with that, I'm not seeing more questions, but anytime you have a question for us, you can always ask in Discord, in general, chat, tag one of us, me or Sandeshna. We're both here to help all of our community members. And remember to fill out the Xmetric form before you leave here today. I'm going to repost it once more, and then it's going to close. So don't wait, you'll get a little bit of Xmetric. Apostle of Finance asked, how does one become a contributor? Chat with us in general. We are looking more actively for analysts rather than contributor based right now, but you can always, chat with us and ask questions and stuff like that. Hope that helps. And here's the form again. So with that, we're almost at 30 minutes. We're going to wrap today's call. Thank you all so much for being here. It'll be recorded and posted on our YouTube channel as usual. So remember to register for the course if you'd like to check out our bounties, check out our events, and come back here next week, Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll have more features and spotlights every week for you. Thanks for being here. Bye all.